Hello, hello. Good morning. Happy Friday to everybody out there. You are tuned in to the Ted Manila Information Show, TMI for short, where we bring you way too much information. I am Manila Chan. That over there is Ted Rall. Today's main topic is going to be the Trump tariffs as it is applicable to the auto industry. Because, Ted, there are two things that everybody, well, I shouldn't say everybody in the world, but pretty much every American needs is a home and a car. I guess, I don't know if the Trump tariffs are gonna, I just thought of a way that the Trump tariffs are really gonna mess up the housing industry. But today we're gonna talk about cars. And I'm gonna warn everybody, we are sans producer Robbie. And you saw yesterday there was audio issues because I had to run everything. Today we're splitting it. Ted is trying to run the Rumble studio.
And I'm having audio issues right now.
So you guys have to tell us in the chat, whether you're on YouTube or on Rumble or wherever you are, tell us in your respective live chats if you are having audio issues or any other tech issues. Tell us what you're hearing or not, not hearing or not seeing. Please let us know. We are looking at the live chat in lieu of not having producer Robbie. So you guys are going to have to let us know what the tech issues are. So yesterday we figured out that each computer is occupied. The driver is occupied, not the driver like a car, but the driver in your computer gets occupied by whatever program that you were using first. And in my case, obviously I couldn't have the audio being sent to two different places. So that was what the problem was yesterday. Hopefully we've gotten that sorted out with Ted running. Okay, I'm looking at our Rumble room. Stoop Dog and Troglodyte says audio is good. All right, thank you, folks. Why are you shaking your head, Ted?
I'm getting an echo. It's driving me insane.
Oh, so you have to mute. You can mute the YouTube audio also. Not the tab, but just the actual in the YouTube
Got it.
audio. How about now, Ted?
Good.
That worked. Okay. See, we're figuring this out. It's hard to do without a third person, without producer Robbie. So we're going to rely on Robbie. You guys. Yeah. And we're going to have to rely on the audience to tell us whatever's wrong. And we know, Ted, that the audience is not shy in telling us.
No, they have not been ever shy about that.
Okay.
No.
Okay. So we got that sorted out. I think Ted's not going to go insane live on air, although I think a lot of people might like to see that. Ted?
Well, they might think I'm always insane. So
that could be true. But I mean, just to see you fall apart on air, I think that would be like a huge click driver. I think
I'm actually pretty calm person, so it's not likely to happen. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Especially
I'm good in a crisis. I mean, I think I could have been.
Me too.
I've always admired, those cockpit voice recorders of, the pilot freaking out. The plane's going down, but the pilot's not freaking out.
Yes.
And I'm always so impressed with that. And I'm like, that's how I want to be.
Facing imminent death,
mm-hmm.
And they're still like.
They're working on the problem. That's right. We do appear to have that right wing on fire. That is confirmed.
My wing is on fire.
We are going to try to return to the airport. Looks like we're not going to be able to quite make that.
Looks like I'm plunging straight into the Hudson River.
We'll be putting down in the water there.
Just
yeah, it's
you gotta be programmed a certain way.
No, it's awesome. I mean, seriously, it's awesome.
Oh, I 100% agree. I mean, like Sully, like you listen to his audio recordings, and you're like, are you kidding? This dude is about to bring a passenger jet down into the middle of the Hudson River, and he's cool as.
By the way, in the winter, people forget that point.
Was it the winter? I don't remember.
Yeah, there were ice flows. Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah, it was cold.
Oh God, I don't remember that. So the people had to get out in a frozen Hudson.
Yeah, they were standing in a couple of feet of water on the wing. By the way, one dude, he's got the Rall gene. He's like, I'm not waiting here. I'm out of here. He jumped into the Hudson and swam to New Jersey. He made it.
I didn't see that.
He's like, I ain't waiting for nobody.
Well, that's definitely a New Yorker or New Jersey attitude.
For sure. It's like, hey, I live in Jersey. It's right there. I'll save a cab. Bye.
I'm trying to go right there anyway.
Yeah.
You only brought carry-on anyway.
This is kind of a win. Yeah. See ya.
All right. Like, cool. Well, anyway, that is a very admirable trait. And I will say, I think there's a dearth of that trait within American police forces, where they're like, oh my God, the guy has tinted windows, draw. Like,
kill everyone. Yeah.
I can't see in his window. Like, just cover back up. That's not the kind of person that should be a cop. But you see, like, cool as a cucumber pilots, ER doctors, you gotta have that.
Agreed.
And I'm kind of spastic as a person, but ironically, maybe I'm not that spastic, but in an emergency, I mean, people have seen me on air for 10 years, you know, like I have 5 people talking in my ear and I'm just like, okay. And nothing, just no freakouts. So,
I mean, you know, it's like you're allowed to feel freaked out. But it doesn't help to share it.
No, I just don't feel freaked out.
You don't feel freaked out. That's great.
No, I just don't feel freaked out. Maybe I always joke, and maybe I'm not joking. I'm kind of dead on the inside after having done like news and being a reporter for the better part of 20 years and the things you see. And I don't know if I started out that way, maybe a little bit, but then your nerves toughen up over the years because you can't survive this industry. You know, if you're panicked and freaked out, you just can't do it. You can't stomach this job. But you know, here I am. I just had this issue with my husband the other day, actually, because he was all freaked out about the job cuts, right, on Monday and Tuesday. And because he works, he's a Fed, so he's panicked. He's been panicked for 2.5 months.
I bet.
So he's like, why don't you care? And I'm like, of course I care. You're the only income in the household right now. Like, I don't have a job right now.
Mm-hmm.
And he was then freaked out that I wasn't freaked out. But it's not that I don't care, or not that I don't flip out. Like what I'm a Californian. I'm kind of like, dude, you know, the big one strikes.
Speaking of freaking out, and we should get to the news, but some breaking news: the stock market is open, and it is another very bad day on Wall Street. The Dow Jones Industrial Average has now slipped below 40,000 for the first time in years. It's at 39,477, down 1,068 points. That's a 2.6% fall on top of yesterday's 4-point fall. It is now, NASDAQ is now predicted by Barron's and CNBC to officially, today we will see what is officially defined as a bear market.
Bear territory.
So Liberation Day has resulted in the liberation of a lot of value, of billions of dollars in American shareholder value. He has been liberated from people's bank accounts.
Well, here's your chance. You jump in. Everyone's jumping out. Jump in. And another bit of breaking news: Russell Brand has now officially been charged with
in England
rape and other gross sex things. Which I don't know. We'll leave that for once.
These are and we should talk about that maybe tomorrow. They're very old cases.
Tomorrow's Saturday, isn't it?
Oh yeah, Monday.
I thought I was the one that was confused about dates.
It's like 1990. Oh, you forgot the Friday, Manila.
I did. No, I did. You were busy trying to figure out the echo.
Because I heard Friday, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. You were busy. It was a lot of yaying.
You know what it's like? I don't know if you're old enough to remember this, but back in the early days of international phone calls, sometimes you would get like an echo when you called a foreign country, and you'd hear yourself back like 2 seconds later. That's what a lot of radio and podcast glitches are like. It's like it's the reverb back into your with the Brits call your cans.
You get that? Yeah, that's true. The cans. Well, people here say that too. But
it's a British
still
thing.
Get that with VoIP calls. Is it a British thing? Well, yeah. I always thought it was from the kids play with the tin cans and the strings.
Yeah, maybe.
I thought it was that.
I'm sure English kids did that too.
Oh, I'm sure. All right. So with that, we'll get into the news because we have our guest Lauren Fix joining us at the half-hour mark. There's a lot of news to get to, and a lot of idiots to talk about.
Indeed. Not just our president and his economic team, who is increasingly looking like idiots. But
yeah. So I'll hit the jaws.
So first story is about President Erdogan of Turkey and him. He's fucking around with Syria. So he backed up the HTS militia, which Manila likes to call the head chopping dudes. They threw out Bashar al-Assad back in December. And now this group called HTS wants the Turkish military to take over some Syrian air bases in exchange for the Turks training the new former head chopping, now completely 100% totally legitimate secular new army. Erdogan is...
Are they head chopping free?
Maybe they're... Well, supposedly they're head chopping free since November. So, look, you can't hold head chopping against people. Just because someone used to chop people's heads off doesn't mean they're going to keep doing it. People change. So,
I hope.
People hope. Anyway, so obviously Turkey is planning to try to spread its regional influence, throw back a lot of Syrian refugees who are still in Turkey and kick them back over into the beauty that is new HTS-run Syria, and crack down on the Kurds because the Kurds have been using Syria as a base of operations to attack the Turks. All that fits in with the Israeli airstrikes against military targets in Syria. The Syrian government says that this is an attempt to destabilize Syria, and a blatant violation of international law and Syrian sovereignty, double duh. Anyway, Israel Katz, he's the Israeli defense minister. I mean, do you have to be named after your own country to be a top official of that country? Yeah. I feel like maybe I should be like America Rall. I mean, that wouldn't be a terrible name. Yeah, America Rall. Then I can become like Secretary of State, America Rall, for America. Anyway, he retorted to the new Syrian president: if you allow forces hostile to Israel to enter Syria and endanger Israeli security interests, you will pay a very heavy price. Foreign Minister Gideon Sar, also of Israel, said Erdogan is doing his utmost to have Syria as a Turkish protectorate. Again, duh. Syria's fledgling military is no match, however, for any of its neighbors. And basically, they are going to be the Afghanistan, Manila, of the Middle East. People don't know that Afghanistan is not in the Middle East, but it isn't. And but I mean,
it's Central Asia. People.
But it is Central or South Asia, depending. But southern Afghanistan is in South Asia for sure. But Central Asia is for sure right. Anyway, the point is, Syria's fucked. I mean, people are gonna miss. There was when Bill Clinton did a skit for SNL like his last week in office. It's really cute. They showed him walking around the basement of the White House. There shows him packing up the boxes, and he's like, he goes to use the candy machine, and he's like, this thing is so hard to use in the basement. And at the end, he goes, "You're gonna miss me. You'll see." I think Bashar al-Assad could probably do a recording like that for the Syrians. You're gonna miss me. You'll see.
Yeah. I mean, look, America tried to help Libya and liberated them from Muammar Gaddafi. But the funny thing about American foreign policy is like they plan and act on the present, and they never think about then what.
Right.
They never seem to process or care about what next, what's after. And here we are. This is the power vacuum, and I think we're gonna see another failed state become of Syria. Like, Syria was part of the Wesley Clark. I don't know if it was a blooper where he kind of, I forgot what media he was talking to or what stage he was on, where he revealed the 7 states in 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And Syria has been on that list. And he said that the plans had been in action, or at least, been considered since 1991. Mm-hmm. So It's taken a little longer than 5 years to depose all of those people in the 7 countries. But Syria was on the list, and here it is. So that plan of action is still in place, regardless of whether it's Bush 1, Bush 2, Clinton, Obama, Biden, Trump, doesn't matter. It's that forever foreign policy that has been enacted, and the ball got rolling back in, if we're being kind, let's say the mid-90s. We're watching it unfold today. So there you go.
So I didn't know this. Did you know that the head of the NSA is out?
Yeah, he just got fired like moments ago.
Yeah. The head of the NSA. This was a Laura Loomer. She, like Santa Claus, she had a list and she checked it twice and she gave it to Trump. And he was on the naughty list for his signal bullshit, which we're going to talk a little bit about in a few minutes. So the NSA guy is gone, daddy gone, like the Violent Femmes used to say.
Oh, great song. All right. Another guy that's gone, Ted. In the second story.
I think that might be the best use of the xylophone in rock.
Okay, here's another guy that's gone. Speaking of gone.
Let's get into him. South Korea's Constitutional Court voted today, because there's a time difference thing, the whole supposed round earth problem, voted unanimously to throw out that guy, President Yoon Suk Yeol. He was the impeached president, over his decision to declare martial law back in December. Remember that? It seems like years ago. Supporters of Yoon, who gathered near the presidential palace in Seoul, apparently cried out in disappointment, no, as the 8-0 unanimous decision was announced. But others were pretty psyched. He's now the second South Korean president to ever be thrown out of office. The authorities deployed 14,000 cops, 210 riot units throughout the capital to deal with expected protests and possible violence. Yoon didn't attend, supposedly due to security concerns, but he said, yeah, okay, I'm good with it. He accepted it. He also said he was sorry for the way his time in office ended. His martial law declaration marked the first time since 1980 that a South Korean president had tried to impose martial law, even though the declaration only lasted 6 hours. If you took a nap, you might have missed it. The National Assembly impeached Yoon in a bipartisan fashion, so he was able to bring the country together. You have to give him that, on the grounds that he violated his constitutional duty. This now starts the clock for a new presidential election within the next 60 days, during which time Han Duck-soo, prime minister and acting president, remains at the helm, and everybody starts campaigning. Most countries have much shorter elections than we do.
Yeah, yes. Remember how Han Duck-soo, after he assumed office after the initial indictment, that some decisions had to be made, and I don't know if this is Han Duck-soo, but Han Duck-soo was like, I cannot make that decision.
That's the mother of all comb-overs. That's all I got to say.
He's like,
Jesus Christ.
I am not the president. I cannot make these decisions. But people are like, you are the president. You're the interim president. You need to make this decision.
That's why they call it acting president. Act. Do something.
And he refused to do it. This is one of those moments. That was one of the moments of the funny Eastern Asian culture where it's like, you don't want to step on toes.
Someone has to wake up next to him every day. Think about that.
Well, maybe maybe there was more in that section 20 years, 30 years ago or whatever. I don't know. He might he's Asian, Ted.
Could be gay.
He could somebody's waking up next to him. He could be 105 because Asian don't raisin.
That's true.
Asian don't raisin.
He could be totally. Could be. Born in the late 1800s.
It's possible, but I just think it's funny that this is what it resulted in. The very thing that
look at the Supreme Court's outfit, man. He's looking swag.
No, he looks like a Harvard professor.
He looks like he's wearing a smoking jacket.
I think that looks like a graduation ceremony thing at Harvard.
It does look like a Harvard one. It's those colors.
It looks like Harvard. All he needs is
I don't like ours.
Thing on this.
And the worst one was RBG with her doily. her head
She
doily.
was trying. No, that worked for her. I
It did
liked it.
not work for. It could not work for
It was her
humans.
signature thing.
So
It was
what?
a
Like,
signature thing.
Hitler's signature thing was that terrible hair. Like, I mean,
No, it was the
signature doesn't mean good.
It becomes good when you stick to it, regardless how bad it is.
Yeah,
That's why.
No, I totally disagree.
That's why. Yeah, when you
every time I saw it, it made me sick. I was
no,
like,
she made it a thing. I think it worked for her. It was her look. So.
It was her look. I'm saying it was a shitty look. All right, let's keep moving here. All right, this conversation, it's my fault. National Security Advisor Mike Waltz's team regularly, as it turns out, this wasn't a one-time shot, which doesn't shock me. So this was his regular deal. He chatted on Signal in order to coordinate official work on issues like Ukraine, not sensitive at all, China, Gaza, nothing going on in those countries, Middle East policy, never a hotbed, Africa, Europe. I mean, what did he leave out? Vanuatu, according to 4 people who've been personally added to Signal chats, including Clovis. 2 of the people who said that they were in or have direct knowledge of at least 20 such chats. All 4 said they saw sensitive info being discussed. Why is he still there? In a more extensive use of the app than previously reported, and it sheds new light on how common the national security team under Trump relies on Signal, which is, of course, the publicly available messaging app to conduct its work. It's the fact that it's publicly available is neither here nor there. It's that there's it's that there's an official system that they're supposed to use instead. It was commonplace to stand up chats on any national security topic, said one person involved in the chats, adding that the groups often included cabinet members and high-level staff. These people are psychotic. All 4 of the people were granted anonymity because they weren't authorized to publicly discuss the private chats, or the not-so-private chats. National security officials have warned that this violates regulations about protecting sensitive national security info from foreign adversaries and federal record-keeping laws if the chats are automatically deleted, right? Because those are all supposed to be stored for the National Archives, even if they're classified. I don't know if people are really aware of that, but even top secret information goes into the archives under federal record-keeping laws. The National Security Council spokesperson, Brian Hughes, noted, however, in defense, that Signal is allowed on government devices. That part's true, and that some agencies automatically install it on employees' phones. That part's not true. He also added that officials have used the app in both the Biden and Trump administrations. The White House is not particularly psyched with Mike Waltz, although Trump has not yet fired him. Waltz faces questions about his relationship with Jeffrey Goldberg.
Yeah, you and I said that.
Yeah.
Like, why
the journalist he added to the chat? I would say he doesn't really. I don't think there are questions. I think we know what happened here. His responses have been awkward, to say the least, and he seems to be in a little bit of danger. You know what? You know what today is? My favorite fellow talk show person says it's Friday, but it might be Friday for Michael Waltz.
No,
Friday is the traditional news dump day. So if he were going to oust Waltz, it could easily be this afternoon or evening, when by Monday we will be at war with Vanuatu and we will have all forgotten about Michael Waltz. I mean, that's when official Washington does things like this. They do it on Friday night, Saturday morning.
We're also really pissed off at the McDonald Islands off the coast of Australia, the home of the penguins.
Fucking little black and white bastards.
Those little bastards. But here's the other part.
Not to mention those bastards in Lesotho.
Especially them.
Those rich fucks refusing to buy our cars.
So here's the one thing I think the saving grace for Mike Waltz is I'm hearing that Donald Trump is so spiteful to the press that what's keeping Mike Waltz in place. Trump is mad, but he doesn't want to give the liberal media
give them anything a win. Right. Yeah, he's obstinate.
And that's it.
He's so oppositional. I feel where Trump is coming from here. I would be likely to feel that way too. There is a workaround. There's a workaround. And I would say, we know that the president watches the TMI show every day. Hello, Mr. President.
Obviously.
A grateful nation salute to you. He should move him. He doesn't have to fire him. He could move him out of his current position and transfer him somewhere else, like ambassador to Vanuatu.
No, but you can't do that without losing face. Trump will not do that because it's in a way losing face and not a win. So I don't see. I think the funny thing is,
if the media didn't say anything, he would be gone.
Sure,
but the media can't say nothing because look at what he did.
I know.
Even if the media loved Donald Trump, they would be like
on the right.
I mean, come on, he's a fucking embarrassment.
Already saying this guy needs to resign. They're a week behind what you and I have been saying, Ted.
Yeah.
So the right is now starting to come out and saying this is an embarrassment.
Do you think Loomer had him on her list? I bet she did.
He was in the meeting when Loomer was there, which is really
so I guess
weird.
Not.
So unless she whispered to the president, in closed quarters after, I don't know, Waltz was dismissed or whatever, but I think it's hilarious that this guy's only saving grace for his job is that Trump is spiteful and doesn't want to give the media a win. And what could happen is that behind closed doors, Waltz gets secret demoted. He keeps the title and he goes around, doing Laura Ingraham's show or whatever. But in reality, he's not actually in control and somebody else is actually in charge. That could be the thing.
That could well be. I mean, yeah. All right, let's keep going here. All right, so
let's keep it rolling.
Of course, obviously, remember the TikTok ban due to expire this weekend, Saturday at midnight. Anyway, Trump when he came in, he set that new deadline tomorrow to try to for TikTok to try to find an American buyer or disappear from app stores. On Apple and Google Play and all that stuff. That's rapidly approaching. So far, the app has courted some high-profile bidders from Amazon to Anderson Horowitz to OnlyFans. Congress last year passed a law upheld by the Supreme Court ordering ByteDance, which is the Chinese-based parent company of TikTok, to divest from its U.S. operations. By the way, they don't even own most of it or anything, or face a nationwide ban over national security concerns, which apparently nobody's ever been able to articulate, and probably, Ted Rall says, probably don't exist, right? I think this is just like all in the fevered imaginations of paranoid fools. Anyway, Trump vowed to keep TikTok around. He told the DOJ to postpone enforcement. Now, Trump is trying to find an American buyer. The app, however, says we're not for sale, saying that China would block a deal. I guess they own about 20% of it or something. If there's no buyer or Trump doesn't sell, which is the same thing, Trump could tell the DOJ to extend the deadline and keep ignoring the law, effectively telling Apple and Google, don't worry about it. We won't penalize you for continuing to allow downloads, despite the law that Congress passed in an overwhelming bipartisan fashion under Biden. So effectively neutering the law, which does bring up some interesting questions about lawlessness within the administration, just in this way. But if not, TikTok will go dark once again. My prediction, as you know, Manila, is that this deadline will be extended once again.
Yeah, I'm not a TikToker. I don't think you are either, Ted. So I'm personally not impacted.
I tried to figure it out, and I just couldn't.
I have no interest. So, but I know a gajillion people really care. It's a consumer thing, right?
Yeah, I may be able to figure it out in the future. So I'm not ruling anything out. I tend to come to things a little bit on the late side. So.
Yeah, I'm usually an early adopter. I checked it out early, wasn't into it. It's just not my thing. I've lived my life on television, for 12, 14 years, and I'm just not,
well, it's like
not into it.
It's like TikTok is like micro TV.
Yeah, I know, and that's why I don't want to do my life on TV 24 hours a day. So it's not for me. But I know a lot of all I can say to U.S. consumers is you will live, and another app will fill the void, and TikTok will be in the dustbin of history, and people will be over it. It'll hurt at first. But perhaps. I promise you, not millennials at this point, Gen Zers, you will be fine. You will be totally fine. You'll forget it the way Gen X forgot about MySpace.
I was just going to say that. Life-saving hotlines that have fielded millions of calls from people like new moms and smokers are now in limbo because federal officials have fired all the workers who were running them. These include the Maternal Mental Health Hotline, which was run by the Health Resources and Services Administration, and the National Quit Line for smokers. Free and available 24/7. These were readily available tools in a place where mental health and substance abuse treatment, it often costs a lot of money and it's hard to find, particularly in remote areas. There's another prominent hotline for mental health support, 988, which you're supposed to call if you're feeling like suicidal ideation or something. We don't know if that's going to be affected or not. That program is also run through the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, and it partners up with the various states. But the agency that runs will be folded into a new agency along with HRSA and others. Although many hotline-related SAM, HSA employees were spared in the mass firings on Tuesday, they're really stressed out. They might themselves be having suicidal ideation. Leaders of 988 also stepped down or retired in recent weeks, leaving openings for people who are in deep with RFK Jr. and HHS's new team. The mood was best put by an employee who lost his job on Tuesday, who said, "It's surreal when the argument 'people will die' doesn't mean anything." Well, that's dark.
Yeah. So on that note, I'm kidding. On that note, we'll leave that right there because
you're not going to say anything about that.
I mean, what else can you say about? I mean, I understand that Doge is coming in, and I even to some degree agree with the sentiment and the idea of what Doge is trying to accomplish, but you can't just make these cuts clear across the board. Like there's more bloat in some agencies than others, and sure, bloating is bad. I get it, but in this instance, like when we're talking about mental health resources for mothers, this is not where you want to cut. That's all I gotta say. I mean, Take a look at the DoD. How about that? That's maybe start there. Get rid of some of the government bloat there. How about that?
Yeah, no, I mean, definitely I would not touch this program. Anyway, that's me.
Yeah.
All right, let's jaws
all right,
it.
Let's get the jaws and get to our guest. I see
I'm
her
very
all
excited
prepped
about
and ready
our
in the
guest.
background.
Okay.
I love our guest.
Me too.
I've had her on many times in the past, and she really is like the car guru. So
no, she's great. Okay.
We'll get to it.
In case you've been asleep for the last couple of months, there's chaos in the car industry. Donald Trump has imposed a 25% tariff on all foreign cars. The question, of course, is what's a foreign car, right? Because a lot of U.S. assembled cars have over 50% parts made overseas. So that's not quite very clearly defined. The current estimates are that prices of a new car are going to go up between $5,000 and $10,000 per vehicle, which is not a small thing. Meanwhile, there's the threat of labor unrest from the UAW, auto union, and there's just sort of this erratic regulatory approach to everything that's coming out of the Trump administration. Trump said that he doesn't really care about the prices of cars going up. I couldn't care less, he said on March 30th. And so buyers, including a friend of the show and my best friend, Scott Stantis, are running to showrooms. He just literally got a new car yesterday. And so people are, I guess this is going to sell some cars. But anyway, to help us break all this down, we're going to have Lauren Fix join us. She's the car coach. She's the nation's industry leading expert in all things automotive. She's appears on national TV and radio every week, as well as His Turn, Her Turn, and Car Coach Reports. She's an automotive authority who teaches drivers everywhere to love their choices and love their cars. Always a good thing. Lauren, so good to see you.
So good to see you both. It's been a while.
It's been
a lot
too long.
going on. Yeah. Thank you for having me on the show.
Yeah, totally chill first quarter of 2025.
Nothing going on.
Oh my gosh. There's no sleep at my end. It starts at 6 a.m. and the West Coast. It's been a lot of international. It's been very busy.
I'm sure.
So everybody is panicked, I'm sure. So Ted, that's a funny story about Scott. Are you hearing this as well? Are people like panic buying right now? Like if people thought they were going to buy a car this year, but now that this happened, they're like, I got to go
Well,
buy a
that's
car right
me.
now then.
I mean, I have a 2015 Accord. You know, it's like it's a little long in the tooth, 155,000 miles. I'm starting to think I need to get my ass over to the dealership ASAP.
Well, maybe, maybe not. I have a
Yeah.
2016 Porsche Cayenne diesel. I refuse to sell it. Also have a 13 because I get 700 miles on a tank. And you know what? You look at the older cars and like your car, you have a 2015, you've got real gauges. Everything works like it's supposed to. And as long
Yeah.
as you've done the oil changes, the tire rotations, and all the basic maintenance, you should be able to keep your vehicle. I have like 50,000 on mine, but I drive two different cars every week. So I'm
Mhm.
reviewing tons of cars. So I don't get to put too many miles on my own vehicles. But it seems like after 2019, all these cars just get filled with technology. And a perfect example is when I saw the new Porsche come out, the 911, which I have an older one and I would not buy a newer one because the screens are completely flat. I'm test driving a brand new Mercedes GLE today. That's today's test vehicle. And I'm like, the thing is, if you lease these cars, great, you walk away. But you own these cars, all right, it runs fine 10 years from now. Now what? You got a 10-year-old Honda. It probably runs perfectly fine. Everything works.
Yeah.
But some of these screens, just like your computer, like your phone, right? Your phone, if it's a 10-year-old Apple iPhone, it's probably not processing fast. The battery's kind of had its day in the sun. And you start looking at all these cars and you start thinking, these cars are not meant to be restored. We restore cars also. We restore old 65, 66 Shelbys and Mustangs. We're always
Mm.
buying them and restoring them. So those cars are like real vehicles. Today's vehicles
Yeah.
are so full of processors and technology that they're basically designed to be disposable. And you think about
And they're
that, thinking,
expensive.
They're more expensive. Yeah.
the truck you're showing right now, a pickup truck,
So it's
can be
binary, right?
easily
It's sort of like the difference between like digital and analog communications. I always like to sort of make this analogy,
yeah,
right? Like
it's a good
like in
analogy.
analog, like if a record could skip, it would still play.
Right.
But like with digital communication, like what we're on now, it's
Mhm.
either perfect or it's not on at all.
Right.
That's
That's true. I mean, I like CDs. I still have some, but if you
Mhm.
use a CD or a DVD, they run. They just keep going. That's
Mhm.
probably a better example than an old cassette tape or an 8 track. I am dating myself because I do have cars that would fit in. But
I do have
um,
vinyl still.
yeah, oh goodness, I don't have any of that left. I think I got rid of it when I got rid of my record player, which is again dating myself. But when you look at today's technology, it's like having a thumb drive. If it gets damaged anyway or something goes wrong, it doesn't
It's
work.
gone.
And you don't want to be in a situation where your car doesn't start. Now you think, oh, how long does that? Well, it could be 10 years down the road. So 10 years down the road, you could have a dilemma where the vehicle doesn't run. And then what? You go to your favorite technician, like, oh yeah, we can fix that. It needs a new processor, it needs a new CPU. It's going to be like $10,000. You're like, I just bought this car used for
Wow.
$10,000. So
Mhm.
I'm not, it's like having an engine problem. So now everything's also 48-volt architecture, which means it's hybrid, which also means expensive. But there's two kinds of hybrids. In this case, much of the hybrids are electrified. So you'll see that a lot on the window sticker. It's called a Monroney. It'll say it's electrified. Great, the fuel economy is better. But if one of those two propulsions doesn't work, the gas engine has a problem, or the electric does, or the transition between the electric to the gas, that's when things get expensive and you're like,
Mm.
oh, I think I'll get rid of this car. So if you've got an older car and it's well maintained, honestly, this is not good for the industry. Keep the vehicle. So I have lots of older cars. I love them. They never go wrong. And hey, if there's an
Yeah.
EMP, I'm still good. I feel like Mad Max.
I miss my 66 Barracuda for that exact reason.
Oh,
I could always figure out exactly what was going on with it.
great car. Great car.
Yeah.
I'm hoping
I
they
don't
bring
want,
that
I don't
name
want,
back too.
Yeah,
well,
they should.
great name.
Sure.
I do not want to drive a computer on wheels, which is basically what we have now.
Mhm.
And now
Oh,
we're looking at this video from Wall Street Journal that has all of these components. It breaks down very clearly, like all of these components that even in domestic cars, like the Ford truck that we were looking at, components, like the camshaft assembly coming from Canada and, all these different parts. And this is a Ford, right? So people
right.
thought, okay, well, like Trump says, okay, it's gonna force people to buy domestic.
Mm.
Yeah, but when you make
What
sweeping
is
tariffs, like,
domestic?
Well,
how do you
that has to
define
be
that
defined.
anymore?
Well, I can define that for you. So here's the thing, Manila, and I think this is where consumers are confused. If anybody is looking at a car, you can go to any vehicle today on the window sticker. It's been that way for over 20 years. It's probably back into the mid 90s. You'll see where that vehicle's made. You'll see, again, because I have the Mercedes GLE in the driveway, I always look at the window stickers before I do the review. And it says assembled in Alabama. And you're like, that's great. It's in Birmingham. It's a US built car. The driveline components are where the key is. We used to make all of our engines and transmissions and rear axles here. Now we're only making 19% of what's sold in the US here. Where is the rest from? Canada, Mexico, Germany, Japan, China, Thailand, Vietnam, I mean, everywhere. And because of that, you're looking all over the EU as well. Now you're going, well, this Mercedes Benz has an engine and a transmission and a rear axle, and they're all made in Europe, different areas, Germany and Hungary and so forth. And when they come over here, because they bring the components here, they then assemble them. They were trying to bypass the old NAFTA agreement by assembling here, which was great. And they're in a non-union state. So that was great, but they don't build that many vehicles here. And if you look at their full production capacity, most of the plants are between 50 and 60%. And those numbers are right from the government. So they know that these plants are only 50 to 60% utilized. What's with the other 40? It's just dead space. So if we could utilize that space with product like Hyundai is doing, they put $31 billion into the US. They're going to move a steel plant here. I've been to their corporate offices in Seoul, Korea. Spectacular facility. We are going to be having one of the largest facilities here in the US. Their whole system is all owned by Hyundai. That includes the steel, everything. So when they bring it here, they'll have a plant in New Orleans, which is great. So that'll bring money. Expanding on the plant in West Point, Georgia, which is Kia. That's all under the Hyundai brand, the corporate brand. And then, of course, they'll be building Genesis here, which is their luxury line, and Hyundai products in Birmingham, Alabama. Again, that had to interestingly be all non-union
Now, Lori,
plants.
question:
Oh.
How are these tariffs going to be calculated? Is it binary, like you either get hit by the full 25% or you don't, or is it pro rata?
It's going to be based on components. So that's where it gets confusing. So every country's going to have a different percentage. And it's interesting because just before I got on with you guys to talk, every single country except for China and Canada have said, yeah, we want to talk. We want to negotiate. So that's exactly what the plan was. Get them to the table. Let's bring these tariffs down on both sides. If you want to have a tariff, then we'll have an equal tariff. Otherwise, no tariff. If you have no tariff, you have real free trade. And you look at if you look at the chart that President Trump was holding, there's some crazy percentages that we're paying.
Lesotho, poor Lesotho.
Yeah, I mean, some of them are like, where is this? But some of these countries, the percentage is so high. So when you bring product into there, they're not going to want to buy U.S. product, right? So what are they buying? Chinese product. And here's something that no one's talking about. China says they're going to raise the tariff against us by 34%. And we go, fine, so we're raising ours, which is a foolish move. You're better off, let's sit down and talk rather than trying to play this arms race like Canada and China are doing. They're going to lose. And it's the dumbest move because the last person to negotiate with President Trump will be the loser. You want to be the first one to the table to go, I think we need to talk. Let's work this out, because then you're going to get the best deal. And then each one beyond that will, you know how this goes, just like you're negotiating anything, right? So I think what's interesting that's going to happen that no one's talking about is China's going to say, okay, we can't sell into the US, but we have all this product, all these cars, all these, everything that they make, their clothing, fill in the blank. So where are they going to get rid of this product if they can't sell it in their own country? They're going to dump it on the EU. And now the EU is like, hold on. We don't want a dumping of Chinese product where they destroy their market, not just cars, but everything that they make. Everything. Because when China comes in and they know they can't sell to the US without a tariff being so high, they're just going to go, they're going to send it right to Europe. And that's going to be interesting. So Europe is not necessarily seeing that. But that's why they're going to have to put pressure on China and say, we don't want your product. Excess
so
product.
What does Trump want here? If this works the way that he hopes, what's the outcome and what's the timeline?
And let me add. Yeah. There's one country of all of these in the list to so far come to the table to Trump and be
there's been all of them. I think all of them have.
Well, the one that says I'm not going to slap back is the one country that's led by a woman, and that's Mexico's Claudia Sheinbaum.
Interesting. Well,
Well,
I think she's got pressures
there
too.
were no but they didn't hit her this time. This
No,
round
they are
omits.
hit. They're hit
Oh yeah.
with 10% because USMCA. And there's a
Hmm.
reason. Let's just
Additional, yeah.
let's just
Okay.
take out Canada and Mexico because that's a separate situation. When President Trump was in office last time, he signed the USMCA. They found a loophole in the system by the way it was written. And so Canada says we're going to jack up our rates by 25%, which is super stupid because Carney's up for election versus I think it's Paul VA is his name. I don't follow politics, so you guys do. And then in Mexico, that's a different thing because they got all those plants down there. So
Right.
and it's lower. So
The
the deal is
maquiladoras.
right. So there's tons and tons of plants. I've been to a couple of them. They can either negotiate with President Trump or find yourself in the crosshairs like Canada's going to do. So the goal is actually for Canada and Mexico to come to the table and renegotiate USMCA in a better way where there's no loopholes because it's actually due for renegotiation July of 2026. But you can negotiate early. If you can bring them to the table, come with a better agreement, it's good for Mexico. So far, we got one on board. I think Canada may have to wait for this election and I've had friends in Canada I've spoken with, it's completely different on the ground. They're hearing, even though you're online, they're hearing different news than what we're talking about and other countries are talking about, other news outlets. So they're afraid that Carney's going to get in, and right now their economy is shrinking. They had a down 33,000 jobs across Canada. It's getting smaller. It's as far as how many people they hire, and they're in deep financial trouble. So this is interesting. I, who's going to get elected? I don't know. But talking to the people on the ground, I guess Paul VA was supposed to be the next prime minister, but with everything going on now, they're afraid that Carney might get in. So this it's interesting to watch. You kind of have to watch Canadian news stations because obviously they're much like the U.S. news stations. There's always an agenda involved, and of course I exclude you guys. So, but it's
Yeah.
interesting to watch.
Well, but the stock. So obviously, though, this is risky. I mean, the stock
Mhm.
market's tanking, even as
It'll
we
come
speak.
back. It'll come back.
And the question is, so, like, I mean, I do want to belabor this point. Like, what exactly is Trump hoping to accomplish here? What is the
Okay.
if it works just the way that he wants, what happens?
Okay. Well, it should work the way he wants. Again, it's not gonna happen overnight. And I know that the market's gonna come back. I am not a financial advisor. I'm not giving financial advice. I have to give that disclosure. But for me personally, I just stopped looking at my stock
Mhm.
account. It'll come back because if you watch it every hour, you're gonna drive yourself absolutely bonkers.
Agreed.
Anytime. I don't care if the market's
Unless you're a
up or
day
down.
trader, there's no point.
Oh,
Yeah.
I couldn't do that. I think I would never leave my desk.
Yeah.
But the ultimate goal is to bring in tariff money like we did before 1913, and that would the goal is to have enough money coming in that we would abolish the IRS and make it the external revenue. In other words, they would be use those same accountants and so forth to collect money from other countries. That would be good because the way we're doing it now doesn't work. And the fact is, all these taxes for us, all of us, keeps going up. So if you can reduce those taxes and eliminate those taxes, at least starting with people that make under $150,000, that's a lot of people that don't have to pay any taxes, federal taxes, not state. Depends
Look,
where
as
you
someone
live.
who generally makes under $150,000, I wouldn't mind that. But
Yeah, me
I
too.
guess my question is, I mean, when you look at the history of tariffs, I mean, tariffs are really a 19th century phenomenon in American economics. So we don't. It's kind of like it's a Hail Mary pass. We don't really know how much money we would be able to collect from tariffs. Right now, it's under 2% of federal revenues.
It's not much, yeah. That's because we're getting screwed to speak being nice about it. Because if you look at the numbers, and I don't understand why are we buying butter and milk from Canada when we have huge farms
We make
here.
that stuff here. I feel the same way about cars.
Well, yeah, that's true.
I'm
Because
from
whether
Ohio. That's
somehow
why I feel that way.
oh, okay. Well, I'm originally from Michigan, so we're close. But it doesn't make sense to me. And I've actually talked to Bernie Moreno, and I've covered some of his things that he's doing. The Freedom Act. He's working at the Freedom of Transportation Act, which is going to be the ability for people to not have a mandate, which has already been removed, and to build cars back here. So the whole goal is to build cars here in North America. So we are definitely bringing jobs back because I have a friend who's an insider at Stellantis. And I was told that after the UAW really put the pressure on them, Stellantis wasn't going to say anything. They were slowly moving all of their production out of the US, 100%, because they're a French owned company. They're not Detroit based anymore. They're going to move all of it to Mexico. That's not good. So John Elkann, who's the current CEO, had a little conversation with President Trump, and I'm sure he was going to nail him huge. So now suddenly they're reopening the Belvedere plant. They're going to make a mid-sized truck. They're going to keep everything in Detroit. They're bringing production back. They actually shut down the plant for 30 days, one of the plants that was doing little stuff to bring back truck production. It's like, oh, so you're building Ram trucks in Mexico, but you're telling everyone they're US made. And a lot of Ford does that too. GM does that as well. The idea is to bring the manufacturing back here. And if USMCA wants to have a sit down and talk about it, maybe we can work out something where we all win. But they can't tariff us, but we can't tariff them. And they're using all these loopholes. Like the suspension comes out of Canada. It comes across duty free, but then it goes back across the border to be part of a sub-assembly. We get duty charged. How is that? And then the assembly comes back across for final assembly in like Kentucky for a truck. And you're like, so we paid tariffs on it and it's our stuff. So this doesn't make sense. So this is what President Trump's trying to eliminate. There's a lot of that going on behind the scenes. No one in the mainstream media is talking about it because they don't understand the auto industry. But as a whole, the goal will be, and this is something that everyone should, if you're thinking about buying a vehicle, there's over 3 million vehicles in inventory right now. Sales were down the first 2 months of 2025. And into last year, tons of vehicles were sitting. We didn't know who was going to be president. Now we know who's going to be president. We didn't know what was getting with interest rates, and they're slowly dipping. My guess is that the Fed's going to drop another quarter or half point coming up. Well, again, we don't know that it's coming. We'll find out. But the goal is to get people back to the dealership. So this is doing it. So a car that is in the pipeline today, 0 tariffs. If you go to any dealer lot, I don't care what brand, and they go, oh, there's a little line we just put in here, and they put on a piece of paper on the side, things that they add extra.
Addendum?
And it's the addendum. It's called additional dealer markup, actually, but the official title. But the additional dealer markup has a line that says tariffs or additional fees with nothing defining it, like they didn't do paint protection or something. You don't want to buy from that dealer. That is a very unscrupulous dealer.
Wow.
Because you have to think that they're taking advantage of us. So every dealer should want your business. They've got cars in the lot they need to get rid of. We have 2026s coming in August. What are you going to do? Here's what you do. Go shop around. Anything that's on the dealer lot is good. If you order a car or you have a car coming in, for example, I have a lot of friends that have cars coming in from other countries. If 50% of the components are US made, then you will have a lot less. It'll probably go between $3,000 and $6,000. I know some outlets are saying 10 to 15,000. You're not going to see $15,000 increase on cars because they'll never sell them. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's a Mitsubishi or a Ferrari. It's not going to. Well, Ferrari's an exception. Ferrari's raising their prices by 10%. Listen, if you're going to spend $200,000 in a car, do you really care? No.
Right.
Porsche is raising their prices by 7%.
For you.
Yes.
We have a viewer question for you from Adrian. He says, what dealerships will be least affected by tariffs? Premium or mid-market? Are premium brand customers like Porsche tariff insensitive?
No, Porsche is going to raise their prices by 7%, just so that you're aware. But certain brands, again, this is the problem. Let's look at just Ford just as a slice of the pie. The trucks could be built in Canada. They could be built in Kentucky. They could be built in Texas. Thing is, you don't know which plant. Where are the components from? Depends which driveline you get, which trim level you get, and all of that is listed on the window sticker. So when you go to a dealer lot, lower right corner, it says where all the parts are from. It says the driveline, it says the percentage of components, and it also says where it's assembled. And that's will help you. If it's assembled here and 50% of the components are US, you should be no tariffs. Canada and Mexico there's still no tariff issue. But if it's, for example, somebody did send me a note. They bought a Mercedes-Benz, they custom ordered it, and it was coming from Germany, and it was built in Germany. And they said, am I going to get the tariff? If you have a signed contract with the dealer, like you signed it and said, order the car for me, this is exactly what I want, and it's before April 2nd, there should be no tariff. Any dealer that wants to tag a number on top of that, pardon my French, a total BS. Don't buy. That's bad business.
Lauren, what's the lag time? So you're saying everything that's out there now, I understand, because obviously it takes a long time.
Everything
cars,
and they have to be shipped. They have to be shipped. They have to be distributed. So, okay, when are we going to start seeing a lot of? Let's assume the tariffs remain in place, which they may or may not. But so tariffed cars. When are those going to start showing up on lots?
Well, Anything that's on a boat coming from another country right now has not
Mm,
landed, is not already pre-sold, that doesn't have an actual dealer, like a contract with a customer,
Right.
not the
or
dealer.
on a truck in Mexico.
Right. Or any of that stuff, that's not going to be affected. It's those, all those cars coming from Japan, Korea, Germany, England. I mean, hey, if you're going to buy a Rolls Royce, I don't think it's going to make a difference. But
Yeah.
so here's another thing that's
Plus,
interesting.
they take a long
BMW,
time to make them, right? They.
well, the Rolls Royce, yeah, but not the minis. The minis
Yeah.
and the BMWs are, they're all from the same company now. So BMW has the largest plant in the world in South Carolina. So their
Oh.
drive lines, because they build for the whole world, right? So they could be doing
Oh.
diesel, it could be hybrid, it could be gas, it could be all electric. It's all built, all of their SUVs are built in South Carolina. They're the number one employer for the state of South Carolina. And Volvo's there as well. Volvo's going to increase their footprint there. They already said that. We kind of knew that was coming because remember, they're a Chinese car company. People don't think about that. Although it
Oh, I
is
didn't know
European
that.
design. It's a European design. I really actually I just finished driving the Volvo XC40. It's a great little car.
The
But
Chinese bought Volvo?
a long time ago. So it's partly owned by the Swedes and partly owned by, they need the cash flow. Where do you go? You
Wow.
go where the money is, right?
Wow, wow,
And
wow.
otherwise you go out of business. So choice B wasn't a good one. And Volvo's a great car. They're very safe. I really like them. You're showing that Fiat there. Those are, I think, my opinion, Fiat, Alfa Romeo, Maserati are going to leave this country. We're just gone. I just think that they're
Wow.
having trouble with sales now. If you like one of those vehicles, you'll be fine. The dealerships will still be there. Lots of good deals on those. They're 100% Italian made. I just don't see how they're going to sell them with a
Is
tariff on
is the
top.
is the trend still going to be electric right now, Lauren, given that there's like the Tesla terrorism happening right now?
That's a
Is
whole nother conversation.
is the whole like concept of like, oh, we got to go green? I mean, is that out the window now?
Yes, it's out the window. But I kind of knew that. And I've been saying this all along that electric cars are great if you want one. You only go from your home to your office or you work from home like we all do. Okay, great. You may not need a car, just maybe you go to the
It's your
grocery
good local
store.
car. Run to the
Absolutely.
supermarket, whatever.
Right,
Mm.
right. And Tesla still owns a bulk of the industry. Remember, they own 67% of the electric vehicle market. So
Wow.
yeah, and all these
What
haters that are
percentage of
out
the
there are the
charging
ones that
stations do
bought
they
their
have?
cars.
What part?
They got,
They got most of them,
sorry.
right? They've got most of the charging stations, right?
They do. There's other companies out there, Blink and Electrify America, which is owned by Volkswagen Group. But the fact is, there's not enough. There's just not enough. And it's funny because when they send me an electric car, I I'll tell you what I really do because I don't want to deal with it because it's a pain in the backside. It's not like I can go to a gas station and fill up. They'll give it to me with a full charge. I'll drive it till it reaches about 40% battery left, and then I park it until they come pick it up because I get a new car every week. Because I got to have that person who picks it up get to the charging station, and there aren't a lot.
Oh,
I live out in a rural area. There's no chargers. There's like six Tesla chargers over near the college, but that's 30 minutes away from me. So what am I? I'm not going to go and sit in my car for 30 minutes. No way. No way. Now,
Do the
BYD
Tesla
is a faster.
chargers work for other cars?
the supers?
They do. The superchargers do work now. They work with Ford, General Motors, Hyundai. Actually, I think Ford was the first to jump on board, then General Motors, Stellantis, almost everybody is. It's called a NACS system, NACS. That will be on some cars, like the Volvo I test drove is a regular outlet, not a fast charger. So it'll have the Tesla charger, which expands your ability to charge. So if you think you want an electric car, there are lots of great deals. And trust me, manufacturers take a loss on every single one. So if you want an electric car, you just
Wow.
need like an around town car, maybe your college student, it lives at home and they just want to go to campus and back. Perfect. Plug in at home. There's plug in at the campus.
Right.
You're back. That's a great first car for a kid who's like, I don't have money for gas. I can plug in at home and get free electricity. That's what's perfect. That's really what it's good for. Remember, electricity is expensive. Way back in the day, I had a Chevy Volt, not me personally. It was a loaner car, and I left it plugged in almost all the time. And I unplugged it to review the car. And I got my bill, and it was $100 more a month. And I'm
Oh,
like,
oh.
okay, I don't spend that much on gasoline. So to me,
Yeah.
that was a negative. And I didn't know that till my next bill came.
But what
So
about
remember,
what
it's not
about
free.
like? I mean, I have to admit, I mean, I would worry buying a Tesla that I'm going to come out. I'm going to come out of the store and there's a swastika carved on the door. I mean,
Which makes no
not
sense
into
to
it.
me. I'm actually Jewish, so for me, I'm like, that makes no sense to do that. But I have friends that own Teslas, and I actually asked one just yesterday who's got a really pretty red Model S, and I said, "Hey, any like nastiness with your vehicle? Anyone giving you an attitude?" He goes, "No." So I guess it depends where you live, where you park it. He parks it in a garage at night, so he doesn't have to worry about it. But there are idiots out there doing things, and they're getting paid to do that. And that I'm sure you've
Ugh.
seen all over
They're
the
getting
news.
paid to do that.
Oh yeah, they're not
I
doing it for
hope.
Rabble
free. Some
rousers.
people are. Some people are. The rabble rousers are getting paid. All these, you can call them terrorists. You can call them protesters. They're getting paid because at 12 noon, if you saw last Saturday when they're doing that at 12 noon, like look at your watch, they all walked away. Like I did my 3 hours of work. I'm
Right.
out.
Right.
Like if you were really upset about something and you were protesting, you're not going to leave and go, "It's 12 noon. I got to get lunch." No, you're going to stand there and not give up because you want to make your
Even
statement. You don't
vandals have
stand.
to eat lunch, though.
That is the stupidest thing. I mean, the whole Tesla thing, it's like you are damaging somebody's private property.
Yeah,
Like
Elon
this,
Musk doesn't
it
care.
doesn't
He
hurt
already sold
Elon
it.
Musk. You're hurting your
Well, I mean,
neighbor.
it
You're
does
not
kind
hurting
of, because
Elon.
of people like me don't want to buy them because they're afraid of this.
But you know what? It's funny. They said their number one sales were Monday after the protest. People that said I'd never own a Tesla or have the funds available to buy a third or fourth car. There's a lot of people out there that do. They went in and bought Teslas, whatever they had in stock. So they did a huge amount of sales on that Monday and Tuesday afterwards.
It's
Wow.
more regional too, I would imagine, right? Like in the
Oh, I'm sure.
Pacific Northwest,
Oh yeah.
is more of an issue.
You can go online and there's a list of where all the little protests are. So
Mhm.
somebody posted on Facebook. I forgot the name of the group. It's like Indivisible or Invisible or something, whatever it is. It's a protest group. There's tons of them, but they're all being funded and they get paid. You can go onto Craigslist and you can see
Yeah.
that they're getting paid. So hey, you want to make a quick $100? 3 hours, stand in front and jump up and down, and here's
Until you
some
get
talking
arrested.
points. Well, it depends how dumb you are. Yes, if you're going to damage someone's property, that
Or
would be dumb.
shot.
Oh yeah, well, that's possible too. But here's the interesting thing. This is what the idiots don't realize. You're out there protesting, whatever. Here's the problem. Your insurance rates, not just mine, all of our insurance rates are going to go up. Because here's what will happen. You call the insurance company, "Hey, some idiot damaged my car." Here's the payout from the insurance company. So his insurance may or may not go up depending upon his situation. But what they do, just like the fires in California, the hurricanes in Florida, everybody's insurance gets more expensive. Literally everyone. And that's how they offset the losses, because they have big losses in certain areas of the country. And then you have a few damaged situations like this. They're just going to chalk that up to like, we don't know who did it. We can't charge their insurance company. You might know who it is. They have that Sentry mode. And you'd think that the people that are damaging these cars would realize there's Sentry mode. We have a picture of your face. We will find you. And they have people
they
are
don't
taking
know.
down their pictures and posting them on Twitter and Facebook. Some lady had her kids give the camera a finger and then she scratched the car with her kids there. Like, what are you teaching your kids? What are you like?
Oh,
I
God.
know. These people are clueless, but what it does is it's going to raise her personal car insurance as well as literally
Well,
everybody's, and it doesn't go
unless
down.
she doesn't have a car. But
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
she was in a parking lot, so I figured she wasn't just strolling around
right.
with
She
her
was
kids.
right. She was probably parking her car as well. And people
Yeah.
don't realize, like your home insurance, your car insurance is based on your local community. Like because if you live
Yeah.
in, let's say, a high collision community or
Yeah.
area, like let's say downtown Los Angeles, I lived there at one point. The insurance rate is much higher than being from the suburbs where I was born, where the
Mhm.
insurance was a little bit cheaper. So
Yeah.
the same thing, like if you're in a pocket of Tesla terror, then suddenly
Yeah.
the insurance is going to go up for everybody with
Mhm.
State Farm or Progressive, whoever you're
All
with.
of them.
That's how
Well,
it's
think
done.
of the state of Washington, the state of Oregon. You could be way out on the west side or the east side of the state, and the west side of the state's the one that's got all the protesters, and you're like, "Well, I don't live anywhere near that. I'm 6 hours away." Don't worry, your insurance is going up too. And I think that's the problem. And have you ever been called and said by your insurance agent, go, "Hey, guess what? Your insurance went down." Never in my entire life. It only gets more and more expensive. So, and then, okay, so car is damaged. Some idiot hits you. All right. What do you think they're going to do? They're going to call Tesla. They're going to order parts, and and he makes money. Or they destroy the car, light it on fire, which is even dumber. You pollute the environment, and then they just get their money from the insurance company, again, raising rates, and they get a brand new Tesla.
Like,
So
just, yeah.
it's totally clueless. I mean, they're thinking they're like Bud Lighting them, but they're not. They're doing the reverse.
So the
It's absurd.
takeaway is don't be ass clowns, people. That's
Thank
the
you.
whole point. Don't be an ass clown and be nice to your freaking neighbors because Elon Musk doesn't care. He already got his
The money.
Yeah, he
pound of
has his money.
flesh.
He's all set.
He's all set. Lauren, thank you so much.
You
Go
never
ahead.
get hurt.
You got last words.
Okay, if you want some more information, I got some great information on the Postal Service. I'm posting some information. It's 6:15 today. Every day at 6:15, I'm posting great car information. Car Coach reports will be posting today on the Chinese industry could put the U.S. car industry in bankruptcy, and I'll explain that at 6:15 tonight Eastern time. And if you want car reviews, all my car reviews live on Car Smarts, all forms of social media at Lauren Fix.
You are awesome. I have it down there at on the screen below, carcoachreports.com. Lauren Fix is the go-to automotive expert. And I love that, obviously, that you're a woman. And so, it's great to hear the perspective from a woman because let's face it, things drive differently for the size of our bodies, the shapes of our bodies, the way we move. Things are different for a female. And we have tons of car review guys. So I
true.
love
Very few women, and I've been
not
doing
enough
this
tall ones though.
Oh, I know, I'm 5'7", but I do get into vehicles
because I'm too tall.
Ah, well, there's some good.
They
Believe
always
it or not,
make the
check a
ceiling
Mini
always
Cooper.
the ceiling comes too far forward, and I have to crane my neck to see the light.
Drive a Mini Cooper. Believe it or not, you can be 6'10" and still fit into a Mini.
Yeah, I don't. Those things look terrifying to me.
Great car. Oh, I've had many of them.
Like if I had a collision with an SUV.
For a tall guy. Wow.
You know what? I have a quick story. My son is 6 feet tall. He drove a Mini Cooper, John Cooper Works, a performance edition, and got hit by a Toyota Tundra. Car spun around because the guy hit him so hard, and the way he hit him, and he ended up hitting a mini, like an SUV. Airbags went off everywhere. He was like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. He didn't even get a scratch. Wow. Nothing, no injuries, and they paid out the whole amount. It was the other guy's fault. So after that, my daughter bought a Mini, my son bought a Mini. So we love the cars. Wow. They're BMWs. Think BMW. Don't think British cars.
Okay.
Wow. Well, good to know. See, that's why people got to go to Car Coach Reports. Thank you so much, Lauren. I hope you'll be back again soon.
Anytime. Definitely. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
All right. So Lauren's awesome. Like, she knows everything about the automotive industry. I mean, not just car reviews, but like the industry. I think that's important to underscore. And I've had her on my previous shows for many years. So I've always learned from all of her insights. And like I say, Ted, I know I'm not like a huge wokey DEI thing. I'm not a fan of it, but in terms of any representation at all, I think it's amazing when you see women being antithetical to the supposed industry that's typically a boys' club, because we are 50% of the buying base. So I think it's amazing that there are a small handful of women like Lauren out there, and I'm glad that she's in our Rolodex. So anyway, that's going to do it for us on this Friday. It's gloomy for me, so not that I really go outdoors anymore.
It's not allowed.
But I'd like to at least go for a walk or something, but it's not happening because a big storm surge is coming through the next couple of days that have killed like 7 people in Tennessee or something. Bad stuff. So I guess it's indoors for me. I'll be doing like jailhouse calisthenics, I think.
Well, good luck with that.
That'll be my exercise. I'll be doing like dips on the bench at the dinner table, but we'll see. All right, that's gonna do it for us. You doing anything, Ted, with DMZ today, or did that already happen?
No DMZ today. We did ours. Okay. I think it was Wednesday, so it's still up.
Okay, different day. I thought you said.
And you're on today.
No, I'm on hiatus because I'm working on this Lao Pod project. Because obviously being ill the last quarter of 2024 really pushed back my deadlines, and I have a long history of never missing a deadline, and now I'm missing deadlines, and I don't like that. So
no, that's not good.
Yeah, it is. It's not a good look, especially when you're freelancing. It's not
true.
Not a good look.
True.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you guys for your support. Make sure you hit the like and the follow and the subscribe button. We're now able to, oh, now that we're able to monetize, Ted, can you look at the ads that are available in the Rumble studio?
Oh, hold on. I will take a quick look here.
Well, we can't see. We forget these things when producer Robbie's not
yeah,
here.
producer Robbie's he's the guy. All right, let's see. So where do I find that?
I'm trying to remember.
Campaigns, probably.
That's it. Campaigns.
Okay, accept terms.
This is where we get our commercial read, and you get to pick one. Obviously, you get to pick the one that pays the most.
All right. I think I'm going to pick a hilarious one. Here we go. All right, continue.
Okay, go ahead. And this episode is brought to you by.
Here we go. In today's society, it's tough to be a man in a world dominated by overly masculine liberal women. That's just not how it's meant to be. Everywhere we look, it's gender neutral, this product, or made for her, that product. That's why we started a company that embodies the ethos of men's lives matter too, with products that aren't designed to be gender neutral or used by people with pronouns. Our products at Rumble are designed and built for men by men, period. So if you struggle with low energy, mood swings, or hair loss, or if you need to perform better at the gym, maybe in bed, and recover quicker after, throw out all your other garbage supplements and try animal organs. They are traditionally the most nutrient-rich supplements on the planet, but our bison organs are a step above. The grass-fed, non-vaccinated bison are a species where the weak are allowed to die and only the strongest survive. So here's our commitment to you. From men who have real confidence in their products, try this today. And if you don't like it, fine, return it for a refund. Go to benaked.com, code STUDIO, and get 15% off today.
Be Naked. You got to make sure you clicked that you selected that campaign in order for us to get credit. And what an interesting ad available to our audience. Because, I'm always fascinated by this because Rumble, I mean, obviously, whoever the platform is, in this case, I'm talking about Rumble, they have analytics on who watches every program, right?
They do. Mm-hmm.
So Be Naked is something they think would appeal to our audience. Apparently, we have like a macho man audience, Ted.
Yeah, well, that's my influence. I mean, a lot of people say that I'm like a stud muffin and very butch.
Yeah, but the macho men wouldn't be into you being a stud muffin. That's not right.
If they're gay macho men.
Well, that could be too. But so that's interesting. It's interesting.
Macho Man was a song by, I believe, the Village People.
That is true. Mm-hmm. And I'm not the most feminine female, but I definitely am a she, her woman. So that's okay. What an interesting ad.
And with that, happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Go to Be Naked and eat bison.
Yeah, I like a bison burger. So it's probably like that.
It probably comes from Robbie's backyard in Montana.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
I'm serious. I'm not
in
even
about
joking.
10 minutes, they're going to come shoot one of his neighboring bison.
One of the bison roaming in front of his back or in his backyard, and that's how they get it. Don't know. Yeah. Natural bison, unvaccinated. Very interesting. All right, guys. Have a great weekend. We'll see you on Monday. I mean, I can't imagine anything's going to happen over the weekend, Ted. So.
Oh, no, nothing at all.
No.
And just another boring. Michael Waltz, I think, is in trouble, but we'll see.
Yeah, that's true. Pay attention on a Friday. This is when the news dump.
Oh, and by the way, we didn't even talk about Mayor Adams. Right? He's not.
Oh yeah, and he got
not running in the Democratic primary.
Yeah, but he's independent now.
Yeah, he'll if he really follows through on this.
Wait, is he running for? What's he running for? Mayor?
Re-election.
For mayor?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he's going to run against Cuomo for.
Well, Cuomo's running for mayor.
Oh, the other way around. Yes, Cuomo wants to be mayor.
Well, he probably will be. Yeah.
Huh. We've forgiven him for upskirting.
Yeah, we have.
Oh.
It's all forgotten.
Well, it's either him or Adams. So
it's true.
Which douche do you want, folks?
Well, there's also a good socialist running, but that's a whole different topic too.
That's we'll see. All right. That's it. Have a great weekend, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, please, as we begin to grow. All right. Adios.
All right. Bye.